So companies come to me for what's called reputation management. They have a reputation and they need more than just money capital. They need relationship capital, and when they lose the relationship capital, they lose everything, right? You can't build a company when your relationship capital is low. You can build a company when your money capital is low. How do I know? Because you probably did that with your company. People don't start normally with a lot of money. They start with a very little, and they build the company based on successes that keep building and building. Now, along the way, you will get customers who are upset, customers who want their money back, customers who will tell other customers so that they can detract, they're called detractors, so they can detract you from getting more business because they're upset, they're angry. Now, it doesn't matter why they're angry, and it doesn't matter if they're right. What matters is they're angry and they're upset, and they will affect your business. So I have come up with, through one of my teachers who taught me this many years ago, 3 questions that we can teach anyone. I've taught my 13-year-old son, Gabriel, and my 11-year-old daughter to do this on the phone. And when a customer hears their voice, they are much more open for conversation. And this is true. Now, there's 3 questions, and I'm wondering if you'd like to know what those 3 questions are. Because it doesn't matter what language you ask them in, they still work. And I have found that it not only builds more conversation so you see what really went wrong, but many times people will change their mind and no longer want a refund. In fact, the people who are detractors, who don't want to do business with you, who were telling others not to do business with you, who are against you, and who were your company's enemy, become the best promoters, because that energy of detraction becomes one of attraction when that detractor is overturned and understood. So I had a friend who's no longer living, but he wrote a book, and you may have heard of it, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. His name was Dr. Stephen Covey, and one of his habits was seek first to understand, then be understood. And this is in the spirit of that habit. When you have an angry customer, you want to have the person talking to them seek first to understand, then be understood, rather than argue with them, rather than debate with them. So when someone calls us, no matter how angry they are or what the issue is, whether it's their fault, it's our fault, or anybody's fault, we ask 3 questions. Here's the first question. What happened? And when we ask them that question, because they're upset, that usually they call us and they say, we're very upset. This, bump, bump, bump. I can't even hear what they're saying. You know the idea, right? You just say, stop. And this is actually very, very good when you get in an argument with your spouse, if you're married, with a child, if you have kids, or with a family member at a dinner, okay? So when they're upset, you say, stop. What happened? And then now they take a deep breath and they tell you. And they go and they go and they go, and you let them keep going. You don't answer anything. And then you say, okay, thank you. You're seeking to understand in business and in personal life. It works. Second question is, what should have happened? Now, this is where they're going to tell you what their ideal scene was, what they wanted to happen. Whether it's irrational or rational, it doesn't matter. They're going to tell you their position so you can understand them. What should have happened is what they're going to tell you. And then the third question is, okay, I understand. How can I make it right? So leave the burden of making it right up to them. If you come up with the conclusion, like many of my clients have had, then they end up giving more versus less. They end up giving away much more than they should be giving away. And many times they give away financial refunds and give their money back when there's no need to, if they allowed the customer or the client to tell them what they wanted. So what happened? What should have happened? and how can I make it right? Now let me give you a real-life example. This actually happened. So I had a customer who was a very good one. He was a client. He had paid me to the time when he was very upset with me over 50,000 US dollars to learn with me over the course of an 8-month period. And he had just purchased something for less than 1,000 US dollars, less than 1,000. And it hadn't arrived. And he was going on vacation, and he wanted to study it while he was away. It came in a box, and he called me after he got back from vacation. And his vacation was on the French Riviera. He was very wealthy, and he told me when he got back how disappointed he was in me. He was an older gentleman, so I felt like he was my father, so you know, that didn't land on me very well. I'm very disappointed in you. I felt like I'm talking to my father. But nevertheless, I just listened and I said, okay, stop. What happened? So he told me that he ordered this product, which I knew, and he had asked me to send it to him with United Parcel Service, which I did. And he told me that the truck, he found out, had burned down before getting to his office. So the actual United Parcel Service truck, I don't know if you have them where you live, but they're big brown trucks, like Federal Express is, you know, like deep purple and orange. Well, these are brown. UPS, it's called here in the U.S. Very, very big company, billions and billions of dollars. The truck actually burned down. So I didn't know the truck burned down. He didn't get his package. Now, he found out the truck burned down later because they gave him a note. So I just listened to him, and rather than asking him, what do you want me to do about the truck burning down? I said, what should have happened? He said, well, he said, Alex, I've done a lot of business with you. I said, that's correct. He said, you should have sent it via FedEx and UPS. So that way, if one truck burns down, I'll get it with the second truck, and I can go on my vacation and study. Now, I listened to this, and I wasn't worried about whether it sounded rational or not, because it didn't sound very rational, but then customers aren't very rational. So what happened? The truck burned down. What should have happened? I should have sent it UPS or Federal Express. So I said, okay, you have a good point. How can I make it right? And he said, well, you can send it again, and I will forgive you, but this time send it UPS and Federal Express. So that's exactly what I did. And he received not one, but 2 of the packages, of which he gave one to a friend. And that friend became a $108,000 customer of mine 2 years later. That is the story of what happened, what should have happened, and how can I make it right. And I only wish you take the wisdom you've learned from this story and apply it to your business. It'll make me very happy, and I hope you share it with me.